Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself staring at a wall of wine in a store, just completely paralyzed by choice? Wishing you had a truly knowledgeable friend like right there in your pocket to guide you. Or maybe you're already pretty into wine, a seasoned enthusiast, always hunting for that perfect elusive bottle, but you feel like the current tools just kind of scratch the surface. Well, today we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. We're looking into a vision that aims to completely revolutionize that whole experience. We've got this ambitious proposal for a platform called Sipley and their bold claim, reimagining wine discovery. So, our mission for this deep dive is to explore how Sipley actually plans to weave technology and terroir together. Make it a seamless journey that's simple, social, and rewarding, turning every scan of a bottle into an engaging story, an intelligent purchase, and yeah, an unforgettable experience.
And what's truly compelling here, I think, is how this isn't just another app trying to make small improvements. Simply is really positioning itself as an entire lifestyle ecosystem. That's the key difference. It aims to touch every single point of our wine journey. From that initial spark of curiosity right up to the moment you clink glasses, it's moving way beyond just reviews into something much more immersive, much more integrated. And that's quite a leap, like you said, in a market that often feels either overwhelming or, frankly, a bit stagnant.
I couldn't agree more. It feels like a fresh take. And to achieve this whole vision, Sipley has laid out what they call the four pillars of wine excellence. These
Mhm.
aren't just, features listed out. They seem to be foundational principles designed to tackle the common frustrations and desires of wine drinkers. Let's really dig into the first one. Discovery made easy. Okay, picture this. You're standing in front of a bottle, maybe you've never seen it before. You scan the barcode, and instantly you don't just get some basic description. You unlock, well, a wealth of information, detailed tasting notes, ratings from the community trusted ones, hopefully and crucially, the story, the vineyard, the vintage, the winemaker. But the real magic, they claim, lies in the personalization. Simply promises recommendations tailored specifically for you, your palate, your mood, the food you're making, the occasion.
Yeah, this Discovery Made Easy pillar is not just about throwing information at you. It feels like a strategic move against decision fatigue, which is just massive in a category as vast and, let's face it, nuanced as wine. Think about it when you feel overwhelmed. What do? You often just grab what you know, or maybe choose based on price or a label that looks cool. Sipley's vision here, it implies a pretty sophisticated recommendation engine, probably using machine learning, I'd guess, to analyze not just what you've liked before, but also contextual stuff, your situation right now. So it's not just a guide, it's like a cognitive offloader. It actively helps you navigate all that complexity with personalized intelligence.
That's a great way to put it, a cognitive offloader.
Yeah.
It turns what can be a passive search into an active guided exploration. Okay. So once you've made that informed discovery, the next logical step for most of us is, well, buying it. And Simply doesn't just leave you hanging there. They've built some genuinely smart features into what they call Pillar 2, smart shopping and rewards. This is where the practical side really kicks in. You can instantly compare prices, online retailers, local shops right there, helping you make the most economical choice without having to open like a dozen different browser tabs. But what really sets this apart, I think, beyond just price checking, is the integrated reward system. Every scan you make, every purchase you log, even checking in when you're tasting something, it earns you points. It's basically gamifying your whole wine journey, giving you real incentives for engaging with the platform.
Right, and the beauty of these first two pillars working together is how they tackle those twin challenges you mentioned, information overload and price uncertainty, all while, very strategically, incentivizing you to engage more deeply. The reward system is particularly clever, isn't it? It taps into those established psychological principles, operant conditioning, basically. It turns discovering and buying wine into a kind of game where the more you interact, the more you benefit, tangibly. And this isn't just about saving a buck on your next bottle. It's about building a sticky user base, people who actively come back. That drives high-volume activity and ideally fosters real loyalty from the get-go. This system encourages repeat visits, repeat scans, repeat purchases. It creates this virtuous cycle for both the user and, well, for Simply.
Right, sticky. That's a good word for it. That point about sticky user engagement is really insightful. It does transform what could be a one-off transaction into like an ongoing relationship. But Simply also gets that wine isn't always something you do alone, right? It's often shared, an experience. And that brings us nicely to pillar 3. Local experiences. This pillar really leans into the community side of things, using geotagging apparently to help you discover happy hours, tasting, special events happening right near you. And beyond just finding events, they also plan to offer curated experiences, drawing on insights from trusted wine influencers. So it's not just a list of places. It's about uncovering unique, maybe more authentic opportunities to connect. Connect with the wine world and other enthusiasts in person.
Exactly. This pillar moves beyond just the screen and into the real world. That's a crucial bridge for building a proper community. What's fascinating here is the sort of implicit recognition that while digital discovery is powerful, the physical, the social parts of wine, tasting together, sharing impressions, learning from others, those are still paramount. By leveraging local events and partnering with influencers, Sepali is effectively setting itself up as a curator of real-world wine culture. It ensures the platform doesn't just keep you glued to your phone, but actually nudges you to get out there, to engage with the product and the community in tangible ways, which really strengthens that whole lifestyle hub idea they're going for.
Precisely. It's about enhancing the entire journey, not just picking up the bottle. And this all seems to culminate in their final pillar, Pillar 4, tech-forward community. This is where Simply really spells out its ambition to be a proper, full-fledged lifestyle platform. Their goal is to make wine genuinely approachable for beginners, demystifying this world that can often feel a bit exclusive or frankly intimidating, while also offering deep, engaging content for the, seasoned enthusiasts. And they plan to do this through strategic partnerships with vineyards, retailers, even those influencers we just mentioned, alongside unique, maybe exclusive events that foster a vibrant, informed, and connected community around wine.
Yeah, this final pillar really ties it all together, doesn't it? It solidifies that idea that Simply isn't just a tool. It's aiming to be a cultural hub. And tech forward, it's not just a buzzword here, hopefully. It implies ongoing innovation, responsive design, probably using AI, like we speculated, to further personalize things and enhance how you interact with it all. By making wine both easy to get into and deeply engaging for those who already know a lot, well, they're aiming to broaden the market appeal significantly, drawing in the newcomers while keeping the experienced folks happy. That's a tricky balance, for sure. But if they pull it off, it could create a really dynamic, self-sustaining community, where knowledge gets shared and experiences get amplified.
Okay, so after laying out these 4 big pillars, the obvious question is, who is this actually for? Who are they building this sophisticated platform for? Simply has identified some very distinct user profiles, these personas, and I bet many of you listening right now will probably see bits of yourselves in one or maybe even more of them. First up, let's meet the social sipper. Picture this, typically aged 25 to 34, maybe an urban professional, single or newly coupled, living in a big city, LA, New York, SF, Chicago, places like that. Their wine habits often revolve around social stuff, happy hours, group dinners. They might choose wine based on price, or what looks good on the label, or just a quick recommendation from a friend. But here's the interesting psychological bit. They're scanning wines not just for info, but often to look in the know among their friends. It's about social currency, really. And their marketing message totally nails this. Find the perfect pour for every night out and earn points while you sip.
That idea of social currency is incredibly potent, isn't it? It really is. It suggests that for this group, wine isn't just a drink. It's a social tool. It's a signifier of taste, maybe even belonging, which raises an interesting question, I think. How might Simply see user-generated content fitting in here? As a cornerstone of this social proof, could every user essentially become a kind of micro-influencer within their own circle, sharing their finds, their tasting notes, their wins? That could really fuel that desire to look in the know. This platform seems to be tapping into something deeper status, connection, not just knowledge.
That's a great point about user-generated content and micro-influencers. It feels like a natural fit for that persona, tapping into something more than just taste. Okay, moving on, let's meet the foodie pairer. These folks are typically a bit older, say 30 to 45, often married or partnered, middle to high income usually, and their passion, it's obvious, culinary exploration, discovery, they live for this stuff. You'll find them glued to cooking shows, constantly using recipe apps, really invested in making their home dining experiences special. For them, finding the perfect wine for every dish, it's not just a nice to have, it's like a mission, and their marketing message speaks right to that passion. From sushi to steak, the perfect bottle is just a stand away.
The foodie pairer, yeah, that's a fantastic segment for them to target, right? Because they represent a high-value, really engaged user. Someone who's actively looking to enhance a broader lifestyle, right? They're not just buying a bottle, they're buying an experience. Simply's success with this group will really hinge on how good, how accurate its food pairing recommendations actually are. It can't just be red wine with steak. It needs to understand the nuances, specific grades with different cooking methods, maybe even spice levels. This segment, though, offers a huge opportunity for potentially premium wine sales and for delivering deeper educational content. They'll likely appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. I can totally picture the foodie pair mid-recipe, maybe flour on their apron, scanning a bottle to double check if it really works with their creation. That's a specific kind of high-stakes moment for a wine choice, isn't it? Okay, next in line we have the reward hunter. This group, typically falling between 28 and 40, they're budget conscious, yes, but, and this is key, they're still focused on quality. What really defines them is their digital behavior. They're frequent app users, people who just love gamified experiences, cashback apps, any loyalty perks they can rack up. And their shopping habits reflect this consistently, looking for deals, loving to collect points, tracking their progress, actively jumping on promotions and referral programs. For them, the marketing message is just a direct hit, totally irresistible. Every sip earns you more, collect points and unlock tastings, discounts, and VIP experiences.
What's strategically brilliant, I think, about targeting the reward hunter is how that gamification can directly turn this segment into high-volume drivers for the platform. They're not just buying, they're, like you said, playing the game. This consistent engagement, driven by wanting to max out points and unlock those perks, well, it cultivates an incredibly sticky user base. They keep coming back. They'll likely be the ones scanning more often, buying more through the app if possible, and actively participating in any promotions Simply runs. This segment can really act as a consistent engine, driving transaction volume and just overall app activity.
That sounds like a powerful way to ensure people stick around long term, yeah. Not just using it now and then. Okay, and finally, let's talk about the Curious Explorer. These are often younger, maybe 22 to 32. Think Gen Z, early millennials. They're adventurous, naturally tech savvy, and this seems critical. They value discovery, novelty, authentic experiences much more than, say, traditional wine culture, big established brands. They're the ones trying new great varieties regularly, showing up at pop-up tastings and actively following these vinfluencers for their next great find. Their marketing message hits that adventurous spirit head on. Discover hidden gems from vineyard to glass guided by vinfluencers you love.
The Curious Explorer is such a vital segment for future growth and for diversifying the market, really. They represent the evolving tastes and values of younger consumers, people who are less tied to tradition, much more open to experimenting. Simply's ability to connect them with these vinfluencers and unique, authentic experiences, that taps right into a desire for curated novelty, something traditional wine marketing often just misses. This group isn't just looking for raw information, they're looking for guidance from trusted, relatable voices, people who share their sense of adventure. And the platform, Simply, becomes the conduit for making those connections happen.
Right. So when we look at Sipley's big picture target audience, they've clearly mapped out a diverse but, I think, interconnected group. You've got the urban millennials and Gen Z, tech-forward, socially motivated. The foodies and culinary enthusiasts driven by pairing and elevating experiences. The value-driven reward seekers who thrive on those gamified incentives. And the local event goers eager for community and real-world experiences. It's a broad spectrum, yeah, but with some very specific common threads in their digital habits and, it seems, a shared desire for a richer, more integrated wine experience overall. Okay, so with these distinct user types clearly in view, let's maybe zoom out a bit and look at the broader landscape. What's the actual market opportunity for this kind of innovation? And maybe more importantly, why now? The source material we looked at highlights what it calls a significant white space opportunity. It basically argues that while current wine apps do a decent job with reviews, maybe, or acting as marketplaces, they often miss key things, like social rewards and those real-world experiential components. Simply aims to fill that gap by proposing what they're calling a complete ecosystem. A journey that moves seamlessly from scan, learn, buy, earn, experience, share. It's about closing the loop on every single part of the wine journey.
And that's not just about spotting a gap. It feels like they're trying to anticipate the future of how consumers engage in these kinds of specialized markets. Building a complete ecosystem scan, learn, buy, earn, experience, share. I mean, that is incredibly ambitious. Let's be clear. This isn't just about sticking existing functions together. It requires really seamless data flow, strong partnerships with local businesses, vineyards, influencers, and a seriously robust back-end infrastructure to actually deliver on that promise. The why now part is probably tied to reaching a critical mass of tech adoption, right? And consumers just being ready for this kind of integrated digital lifestyle platform.
And the market statistics they share certainly seem to back up that readiness. We're talking about a global wine market already over $500 billion, projected to hit over $600 billion by 2030. That's a healthy 4 or 5% compound annual growth rate. And the U.S. wine market alone, a $70 billion industry, third largest globally. So it's a huge driver of trends, innovation. But what really makes this opportunity stand out, I think, is the shift in consumer behavior they highlight. Millennials now accounting for 42% of wine consumption. And get this, 65% of those millennials actively use apps and websites to inform their buying decisions. That's a massive, digitally native audience practically waiting for a platform that really gets their needs.
Exactly. Those aren't just abstract numbers. They represent a fundamental shift in how people discover, buy, and engage with products, especially something like wine. That huge millennial consumption points to a demographic that, generally speaking, values experience maybe more than just ownership, authenticity over strict tradition, and expects digital interaction in pretty much every part of their lives. These are precisely the kind of pain points and desires Simply seems designed to address head-on. Which brings us back to that really powerful statement of intent they have, the one that truly defines their unique value proposition. They state, quite clearly, we're not just another wine review app. We're building the lifestyle hub for wine discovery, rewards, and experiences. And then they drop this analogy. Where Vivino is the Yep for wine, we're the Venmo plus Untapped plus ClassPass for wine culture. That's a significant claim.
That is a fantastic analogy, and it really paints a clear picture of their ambition, doesn't it? Just for listeners maybe less familiar with all those apps, could you quickly unpack that? Like, what does Venmo for wine suggest, or Untapped but for wine, and the ClassPass part?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so if Vivino is like Yelp, you go there mainly to read reviews, get basic info. Simply wants to be way more interactive. The Venmo for wine bit suggests, I think, social sharing, maybe even peer-to-peer wine gifting, or easily splitting the cost of a bottle you shared with friends. It's about weaving that social finance layer right into the wine experience, making it easier to share and celebrate together. Then, Untapped for wine. Untapped is huge for beer lovers. You log beers, rate them, share photos, track your tasting journey. So for Simply, this means a robust, probably gamified system for tracking every single wine you try, building your personal taste profile over time, earning badges or points for exploring new grapes or regions, and the ClassPass for wine culture element. That's really about curating and letting you book those local experiences we talked about. Tastings, happy hours, maybe vineyard tours, even virtual events perhaps, all through one platform. Almost like offering subscription-style access to this whole world of wine events. It's about experiential commerce, bringing that entire spectrum of wine engagement, from discovery to experience, under one single digital roof.
Wow, okay, that really clarifies the sheer breadth of their ambition. It's huge. From social payments to personal tasting diaries to booking actual events, all in one place. It really is a multifaceted approach. What Simply is proposing here isn't just, a new app. It feels like a new way of engaging with, well, an ancient tradition. Imagine your next bottle of wine, not just as a drink, but as part of this ongoing experience. One that constantly rewards your curiosity, helps expand your palate, and genuinely connects you to a wider community of people who share that interest. This deep dive really shows us a potential future where every sip truly tells a tale worth sharing and actually earns you more along the way, actively making wine an engaging, dynamic part of your lifestyle, not just something you buy occasionally.
It really does. And this all suggests, I think, that the future of niche markets like wine, but maybe others too, isn't just about providing data anymore, or even just making buying easier. It seems to be about crafting this interconnected, holistic journey, something that seamlessly integrates discovery, commerce, and community. It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other industries, perhaps those also rich in tradition but maybe a bit slow to adapt digitally, could benefit from this kind of model? This comprehensive scan, learn, buy, earn, experience, shares approach. The potential for this kind of integrated lifestyle-centric platform could, theoretically, extend far beyond just the wine cellar. Makes you think.